nobody saw this coming. Sean "Diddy" Combs, the hip-hop mogul who built empires, launched legends, and lived larger than life, is officially going to prison. 4 years behind bars. The man who once threw million-dollar parties for the world's biggest stars just stood in a federal courtroom, hearing a judge say the words, 50 months in custody. And the details of how he got here are darker than anyone imagined. Diddy was one of the most powerful figures in American music: Bad Boy Records, Revolt TV, Ciroc Vodka. His influence reached from the studios of New York to the boardrooms of Hollywood. But over the past year, it all unraveled. Fast. Allegations of abuse, trafficking, and coercion surfaced. One lawsuit after another. More than 100 filed. And now, a guilty verdict that's changed everything. It all started with the federal investigation that blindsided the music world. In early 2024, Homeland Security agents raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. Helicopters, SWAT teams, armored trucks. It looked like a movie scene. At first, Diddy's team called it an overreaction. They said he was being targeted because of his success. But behind the scenes, investigators were building a massive case. They uncovered private flights, secret payments, and disturbing videos, evidence of what prosecutors later called a pattern of exploitation and coercion. When the trial began, the courtroom was packed with reporters. Diddy walked in wearing his signature dark suit and glasses. Calm, collected, but you could see the weight on him. The prosecution painted him as a manipulative mogul who used fame and money to control others. They played clips from interviews, photos from parties, and text messages that hinted at a secret double life. One investigator described Diddy's private events as freak-offs, luxury parties that allegedly crossed legal and moral lines. His defense pushed back hard. They called it a smear campaign, saying prosecutors wanted to make an example out of a black businessman who broke barriers in music. They claimed every relationship was consensual, every trip legal, every accusation exaggerated. But then came the testimonies. Dozens of witnesses, former employees, and women who once worked closely with Diddy. Some cried as they spoke, others described being pressured, flown across state lines, and made to do things they didn't want to. That's when the energy shifted. Even people who once defended him started to fall silent. And then came the verdict. After weeks of testimony and media frenzy, the jury found Diddy guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, violations under the Federal Mann Act. The bigger racketeering and trafficking charges didn't stick, but these 2 were enough. When the judge returned, the courtroom went quiet. 50 months behind bars, $500,000 fine, 5 years of supervised release, and a career that might never recover. But here's the thing, this might not be the end. Because Diddy's lawyers are already preparing an appeal, and they're pushing for him to serve time in Fort Dix, New Jersey, a low-security prison known for celebrity inmates and early release programs. Could he get out sooner than 4 years? Possibly. If he qualifies for the residential drug abuse program, he could cut months off his sentence. The reaction across the industry was instant. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. The same phrase was trending: Diddy done. Some fans expressed heartbreak. They grew up on I'll Be Missing You, Mo Money Mo Problems, and Bad Boy for Life. For them, this was the fall of a legend. One fan tweeted, "We lost another icon. From Biggie to this, hip-hop will never be the same." Mase, once Diddy's protege turned critic, dropped a cryptic prayer emoji on Instagram. Young Miami, who was recently linked to Diddy, deleted several photos and posted a single message: "Protect your peace." On the other side, some industry figures stayed quiet, maybe out of fear, maybe out of loyalty. Nobody wanted to be the next name dragged into the story, and that silence spoke louder than words. Meanwhile, Revolt TV, the media company Diddy founded, immediately announced leadership changes, distancing itself from the scandal. Brands like Ciroc and DeLeon, once synonymous with Diddy's image, quietly scrubbed him from their websites. This wasn't just a legal blow, it was the dismantling of a billion-dollar brand, piece by piece. But the most shocking part? This might only be phase 1. Federal prosecutors hinted at additional investigations involving other business partners and possible cover-ups. If more evidence surfaces, this story could explode all over again. So, what does this really mean? For hip-hop, for celebrity culture, and for power in entertainment? This case is more than one man's downfall. It's a turning point in how the music industry confronts abuse and accountability. For decades, powerful figures operated above consequence, their fame acting as armor. But now, that's cracking. We saw it with R. Kelly, we saw it with Suge Knight, and now Diddy, arguably the most influential producer-entrepreneur of his generation, faces the same reality. Some people are calling it justice, others are calling it cancel culture on steroids. But either way, it's a sign that money, fame, and nostalgia can't protect you forever. It also opens a bigger question: can hip-hop separate the art from the artist anymore? Because like it or not, Diddy's fingerprints are on decades of culture, from Biggie Smalls to modern-day moguls like DJ Khaled. Every tribute video, every sample, every bad boy nostalgia moment now carries a shadow. And that's where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Fans are torn. Do you stop streaming his music? Do you erase the past? Or do you remember the art and hold the man accountable? It's not an easy call. And that's why this story keeps trending, not just as gossip, but as a cultural mirror. It's about fame, power, and what happens when both go unchecked. But there's one final twist. Sources close to Diddy claim he's planning to write a tell-all memoir from prison. If that's true, this scandal could just be entering its next chapter. So, what do you think? Was Diddy's 4-year sentence fair? Or was he made an example of? Do you believe justice was served? Or is there more to the story that we haven't heard yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you stand on this one. Because love him or hate him, this is a turning point for hip-hop. The empire that once ruled the charts just collapsed, and the echoes will be felt for years. If you want to stay ahead of the next big twist, from celebrity courtroom chaos to Hollywood power scandals, hit that subscribe button right now. Because the next story might make this one look small.